Hello, good evening, and welcome, or good morning, I should say, for some of us. And welcome to another late night special Gentleman's Agreement remix of the CantinaMX podcast. My name is John Chagoo. Glad to have you with us. I am on the road, as I have been as of late, with my crazy NBA schedule that I am in the middle of working right now. Just got some very important and very vital replenishments, refreshments, nutritional of high nutritional value. Of course, I'm speaking about the delicious kolaches at the one and only Czech stop in West Texas, just north of Waco. And I freely endorse them and would love it, if they ever decided to sponsor the CantinaMX podcast. Have free kolaches for life would be outstanding from the Czech stop here in West Texas. But I digress. I have a lot to talk about tonight, at least for the next hour or so. As you can hear, I am joined by my fellow cantinero, my fellow caballero. Joel Aceves joins us from Orange County, California. Joel Aceves, how are you, sir?
Kiola John, just right here, battling the, what is it called?
The allergies, the fires.
No, the chillarmanos, you know.
Oh, that's right.
Is it called lashback or?
The blowback, the blowback.
Blowback, yeah, my ESL showing, but yeah, man, it's there's the news that Chivas could be letting go of Jair Pereira, Alan Pulido, and La Chofis. And, I was trying to say why. Why it makes sense. And, yeah, it sort of spiraled from there, John.
Well, I'm sorry to hear, Joel, that the Porchi hermanos are up your strap right now, as far as them being upset with you. I'm a little upset about the whole Chofis thing, but maybe a change of scenery is what he needs. Now, he was injured right before the Super Clásico, and he hasn't played since.
No.
So I don't necessarily think that, I don't say that it was a drop of form, because he was playing pretty well before the injuries. So, maybe this is just a way to get him to kind of light a fire under his butt to see what he can do, because as we all know, especially the trophy chasers, of which I am one, know how talented this young player can be. And frankly, there are no players in Mexico that possess the skill set that our young La Chofis possesses, which is why I'm guessing a lot of the Chiva hermanos are upset with you, because they, like me, fellow trophy chasers, see a player that display this kind of skill and going, why on earth would you want to get rid of a guy like that?
Yeah, well, and John, there was some video footage taken of Cardoso having a heated debate with Chofis, and the team was still training. He pulled him to the side, and it went on for about 40 minutes. And Cardoso said in a presser that it's all football related. He said, I don't care what the players do outside of the field. I'm not here to babysit them. But I think it has something to do with that, because I think his indiscipline is what has held him back, because he definitely has a talent. He should have been, since he broke into the scene. It was over 2 years ago, 2015, late 2015, and he should be like a more established player by now. And if we look at his numbers, he's mostly been used as a sub.
Right.
He has very few full games where he played the full 90, and and this is already with like different coaches where we can say, I don't think we could use that excuse that the coach doesn't like him, because it's already different coaches that seem to like just I guess feel they can count on him to be a full 90 player, and I
And this
know.
is. Go ahead, finish up.
Well, his conditioning has been a big problem as well, and I found a quote on when Almeida first arrived that he gave for ESPN, and he was like, he was talking about how Chofis he lacked the muscle and was overweight, and I do think that like in that aspect he lacks that discipline as well, to be more physically prepared.
He does. He's a player that frankly relies on his skill to bail him out, to
Yes.
make him excel. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that this is an area that we touch on, frankly, quite frequently here on the CantinaMX podcast. It all has to do with professionalism.
Yes.
La Chofis may be a professional soccer player. He may play soccer for a living, but he's not a professional in the sense that for players like you see with La Chofis, you see other players that have these issues, and they're quite prevalent in Mexico, particularly in Liga MX, that they don't take the most important parts as seriously as they should, which is a shame because being a professional and having that level of professionalism where you attend training, you do extra training, you go into the weight room, and you really try to improve yourself, whether it's mentally, physically, etc. Because then the skill set that you're relying on will just be amplified.
Yes.
And this isn't the first time that we've seen this. And I'm not saying this just happens in Mexico. This also happens all over the world. I mean, we just recently, I saw a video of Kylian Mbappe there at PSG, the darling right now of the soccer world, 19-year-old kid out of France, who showed up at his PSG practice. Showed up a little late, and he was kind of laughing about it. And Gigi Buffon, who is the goalkeeper there at PSG, pulled him aside and told him, dude, of course I'm paraphrasing. He's like, dude, you have to understand who you are, what you represent, etc. You can't act like that. You can't be like that. You are, you have to be, the responsibility you have, not just as an athlete, but as a professional and as a business person, as a colleague, is tantamount to what it is you're trying to do. And you could see the expression in Mbappe's face going from smiling to getting, to kind of getting mad that he was being scolded, to completely stoic, to, almost a little sad, to relief, to, oh, okay. And then you could kind of see the light go off a little bit with him. I mean, it isn't, it's not like it's Hector Reynoso talking to this guy. This is Gianluigi Buffon, one of the world's greatest goalkeeper for the last 16, 17 years.
Yeah, he's been that consistent.
Exactly.
Which is it's very hard to do. You have some players that for 2 to 4 years they're at the top, and then they fall by the wayside, and then you have players that throughout their whole career they maintain that level, and that Buffon is certainly one of them.
Exactly. And so that is something that frankly is lacking, not just at Chivas, but on a lot of teams worldwide that have that kind of leadership on a team.
You beat me to it, John. I was just about to say that. Like I said, Chofis just did not have that, that type of player to look up to at At Chivas, I mean the most veteran player, Salcido, is the guy that didn't want the captain's armband and who's had a couple of scandals himself accompanying him. You know, he was under some hot water. It just didn't make any
which is
more
a
noise
shame.
now.
Not
Yeah,
not the scandal stuff, but you know, for a player who is as accomplished as Salcido is, to have had the career that he's had, where he's done so well everywhere he's played, and had a you know, a national team career where I think if you asked anybody at any age of from someone in my 40s like myself to someone in their 20s, would not hesitate at all to put Carlos Salcido on the all-time starting 11 for a Mexican national team.
yes.
And for a player of his stature and how much he's meant to the sport of soccer in Mexico, to eschew the captain's armband and not assume that leadership role that is obviously so desperately needed at a team like Chivas, where a player like Alan Pulido says, we have no leaders on this team. It's like, dude, you're a leader on the team.
Yeah, he was called to be one. Oh man, that pretty much Chivas in a nutshell right there, and they have lacked that for a long time now. I think Gallito could have probably been that guy, but they let him go. So that was that.
And of course, you're talking about Jose Juan Vasquez,
Yes.
better known to the world as El Gallito Vasquez. Was that leader? He was that guy who led by example, both on the field and off the field, and and how it is to be a todo un profesional. And all the dirty cops are. Oye, güey, soy un profesional. Obviously, a player like a Jose Juan Vasquez are very hard to find, and if you got a player like that, man, you've got to lock him down and make sure he's on your team for at least 10 years. Because, I mean, especially in Liga MX, those players just don't come around that often. Dario Verón is an example. Pumas saw him in like 2004 when they were in the Libertadores and playing against the Paraguayan team from which he came. And they said, we got to have this guy. And frankly, outside of Cavino and maybe Tuca, I can't think of a foreign player who had more of an impact on Pumas than Dario Verón. And he was with them for, 12 years? I mean, you just can't pass up on guys like that. And to just give up on Gallito, it's just like, what on earth? It just... that's what I don't understand Chivas fans. And I know that they're passionate, but I mean, a couple months ago, I forget what it was that I said about like it was just like watching Chivas would be so funny if it wasn't so tragic, or something to the tune like that. It's just, and it really is a shame, and I do feel bad for the Chiarmanos, but if this is what it's going to take for Chofis, maybe he can go somewhere where his next, if he does indeed move on, if his next coach can make him see the line and make him understand that, dude, you're going on 23, 24. You should be, your next contract should be the contract that sets you for life. And at this point, you are just struggling to even make a team, dude.
Which is right now and that's right now the problem with Chivas is that it's exactly how you said. He wants that big contract, but he just hasn't shown that he deserves it, and the last I heard was that they wanted to sign him, but they wanted it to be like performance-based contract. But I do feel he would probably be better off at another club that probably surrounded with other type of players that Chivas just doesn't have. He could probably feed off of that, and it's interesting how I find it kind of interesting with my Chi hermanos, because sometimes we have like a really talented player, and they're like they wanted him to go to Europe so that he could improve. And and I don't see what's difference with Chofis. There is no there is no there's obviously no offers from abroad, but you know we would like to see a player like that improve. Unfortunately, not in our club, but at least elsewhere because he's a good talent that could he could do good for the selección, you know.
Excuse me, I'm in the middle of my my kolache.
Oh, you managed to get one.
All right.
Okay, no, I could keep going. With
No. What I was gonna say was, you know, one, I don't quite understand that mentality of, we have a good player, he's got to go to Europe immediately.
Yeah.
Because then he's not going to help Chivas. Number one.
Yeah, the club's never going to win anything
number two,
like that.
A team like Chivas, if you have a good player, you don't sell players to PSV Eindhoven or to, Madeiras in Portugal, or, you sell your players, if you're going to sell a player, to the Manchester Uniteds of the world, the Real Madrid. That's where Chivas players, because if you're a good Chivas player, that means you're a good Mexican player, and a good and if you're a really good Mexican player, then you need to be going to, if Chivas is going to make that move, they need to be selling you for 25, 30, 40 million bucks. Otherwise, stay with Chivas, because you're not going to get to play in a better league than Liga MX if they sell you for $4 million to go play in the Eredivisie. What's the point? What is the point? And then for Chivas fans, it's like, why on earth do you want to get rid of a guy like that when he can be your guy for 5 or 6 years, 7 years?
Well, for Trophies, for the reason that he's not, the team's not getting the best out of him. So I mean, I think it's at the point where, to me, it's like they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it with the current squad. Or Yon, we have
I'm listening.
Will Hermano Ron. He's waiting for his invite.
I don't know. I don't know if we can do that tonight, Hoy. This is a private conversation. It's a private conversation. I'm gonna have to pull over.
You're gonna have to pull over
to make that happen. Well, give me a second. We'll bring Ron in here in a moment. But I don't know if you want him to profane your Chivas chat right now.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind. We haven't had Ronnie's been a long time missing from the chat. He's one of the founders of the Cantina. Yeah. But that's my take on Chofis overall. I think he's exceptional talent, but he's not. To me, he's not at the level that he's shown that he could be at. And so yeah, it's time for him to move on. I know it sucks, but I think it'll be better for everyone.
So talk the Trophy chasers off the ledge, Joel.
Yeah,
give me if a team says Trophies, vente para acá, what team would you go? Oh man, he really has a chance to do well.
I think a team like Monterrey, in any, I mean, like, I just can't see him going to a Cruz Azul, or even a Toluca, so, or even Tigres, man. So yeah. Monterrey is probably like one of the.
Yeah, but Monterrey has, I mean, their plantel is stocked. I mean, he would have a hard time even.
No, I know, but it'll be for next season. So who knows if they would release some other players?
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, he's more likely to end up at like Querétaro. I wouldn't even.
So you don't think Peláez would take a chance on him?
No, not even Mati at San Jose.
Ouch!
I don't think he would bring him over, man. It's a much more physical league. Trophy wouldn't last long. Yeah, you'll be huffing and puffing 10 minutes in, man. Um, but yeah, who knows, man? We've seen a lot of players like that, that look very promising, and then the fame seems to go to their head, and they, like you said, they lack the professionalism. But
I mean, for all of Chicharito's faults, and I bring this up all the time, he may not have been the best striker or have the best ball control or, whatever the hell it is that people, pissed and moaned about Chicharito for years. But what Chicharito did have, and I think one of the reasons why he's had going on a 10-year career playing at a very high level for 80% of that time, is that he was a world-class professional. Chicharito did two things really well. He found space in the tightest of places in 6-yard box to score goals, which is outstanding, and the level of professionalism that he maintained throughout the 90% of his career was reasons why he was able to go. I mean, he's played for 4 teams in Europe. 2 of the teams are 2 of the absolute glamour teams.
yeah.
Glamour teams in the world. And did well at both of them. And that is not easy to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he
you
overall
have to have a good.
Yeah, overall he has over 100 goals scored, and not that many players can say that. Even if you look at just Latin American players, if you look at strikers even from other countries that have reached that milestone, for the most part, you're gonna be looking at the really top players like Suarez, players like that they managed to surpass 100 goals, and then the rest.
Suarez to me is another perfect example of, he might have had some on the field issues, but you would never question his level of professionalism. I mean, the dude was and Messi, again, Lionel Messi is kind of the same. When he was a kid, he didn't really take care of his body as much. Relied more on his God-given ability more so than anything else. And I'm not sure who it was, and I would love to find out who it was. But they said, dude, you are outstanding. You could be even better if, one, you take care of your body better, and to just learn to comport yourself as a professional and look at the results. I mean, he, another guy that for what, 13, 14 years playing at one of probably the most demanding position on the field. And yes, he's had injuries, but he gets knocked down more than anybody. Have you ever seen Messi ever take a dive or try to embellish a foul? He didn't have to, because he gets kicked so much, and all he does is gets up and goes, you know what, you guys kicked me, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go score a goal on your ass in the next 10 minutes. And it's exactly what he does. That's how he takes his revenge. And but again, it's his level of professionalism, and it's just something that I wish we saw more of in Mexico. I'm not saying that there are no players in Mexico that exhibit these traits. There are plenty that do. But the stark reality is that for a good portion of players that do show the potential of with the skill that they have, it just seems like there's always the lack of professionalism is what ends up giving them less of a career than they probably than they could have if they would have taken it a little more seriously.
Yeah, and then just to, I think, to finish it off on the whole trophies, players like him with that type of talent, by their early 20s, they're already key figures. They're already key figures in their teams. You know, if you look at like Neymar before he went to Barcelona in Brazil, he was like one of the top players, you know.
And was for
for
years.
his team. Yeah, and and even like looking at other players, like just other Mexicans like Cuauhtemoc Blanco. I mean, Ochoa became starting keeper at 18. You know, by 24 he was already established. You know, he wasn't like battling for minutes. He was already the goalkeeper. You know, um, and so and then for his age to still not be there, it that's like what I try to explain to the Chillarmanos, man. It's he should already be there right now because he has that talent, and if he's not,
Right.
and it just shows that he's lacking in a lot of areas.
And what's so frustrating for a player like Chofis is that, if he shows that talent for 2 or 3 years, then, again, if you want Mexican players to play in Europe, that's great. But, to me, if you're going to make the jump from Guadalajara to Valencia. Don't make the jump from Guadalajara to.
Well, you know what? If Chucky had the type of like Trophy's numbers in the league, he wouldn't even be in PSV right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's I guess what sometimes that's the like harsh reality, and a lot of fans just don't want to see that. And I think it's a bit of the romanticism. We see that one awesome play he did, or that one game where he scored this really fantastic goal, and that stays with us, you know. And the player will go through like a 5 game stretch where he didn't really do anything, but we still seeing him as the one of the better players because of that one fantastic goal he scored.
Right.
Yeah, he's Trophies is heading to his what was it, a hat trick that he had in Monterrey?
Yep.
When yeah, that's he's gonna be like Al Bundy, talking about the 4 touchdowns he scored in Polk High. And that's gonna be Trophies, man, like 10 years from now. Just still talking about that Monterrey game.
Exactly. Now, Ron, if you're listening, don't think that we're not trying to get you on, but I do have to find a place to stop where I'm not being hassled by the chota.
You need somewhere where your cricket phone gets reception, Yon.
That's right. No, I just want to be able to do it like in a well-lit gas station and stuff. Out here in the country, I don't know what's going to happen to me. No, I just, if the chota wasn't there, I wouldn't have. I would have just stopped at the side of the road, did what I had to do.
Yeah.
I don't want the chota. Boy, you got a license to podcast right now, boy. So I don't want to run into that. So you don't think that Peláez is gonna be the kind of guy that takes a chance on La Trophies?
No, I don't. I don't see it. I think he likes certain type of players, and he just doesn't fit the mold. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. But yeah, what we have, man, we've dedicated more than enough to La Trophies.
You said con la pinche Trophies,
Yeah,
wow.
It's said to bury that.
You're done. Yeah,
we're beating a dead horse.
Wash your hands. So basically, what you're saying about La Trophies is leave the gun and take the canola. We're done. We're done with La Trophies. All right, we will move on then. No more Trophies talk. Joel, at the peak of excitement in Liga MX, there's 1 week left in Liga MX, and what happens? There's a fecha FIFA.
Yes.
So instead of planning the season to where the season could be over and the Liguilla starts in 2 weeks and you have a full run, to Christmas, we're going to have a week off and have another week before we get to the Liguilla. More importantly, Joel, my Pumas got a huge win.
Yes.
In Toluca, one of the hardest places to play in Liga.
Yes, the Devil's Cauldron.
That's right. And they were able to get a 1-0 win to give them the points that they needed to qualify on their own without needing anybody else's help. And now they got a spot where they can, with another victory, can position themselves to avoid teams, namely Tigres, because I think again Tigres to me is the absolute favorite for the Liguilla. So if you can, they play on Sunday, so they'll know what they need to, up or down to avoid them. So and then they are playing Santos, who's right next to them in the tabla posiciones. So, it could be a very important game to see where they land to jockey for a position, to see who they can play and who they can avoid. Because, I mean, that's, no one wants to play Tigres if they're a 6 seed. If you're the 3, why on earth would you want to play Tigres? I mean, they would be, of the bottom 4 teams, that they're clearly the most dangerous.
Yeah, especially with a Gignac that seems to have, becomes friends with the ball again. And
yeah, it's amazing how that happens.
Pounding goals.
Yeah. Where he starts scoring goals again, just when they absolutely, and it's one of the reasons why they've won the last, is it 2 or 3? 3. They've won the last 3 torneos, Apertura.
Yeah.
Because Gignac gets hot.
Yeah, you don't want an on fire Gignac, man. And they're playing Chivas at home, so sort of feel bad for my goats. And I've been talking about this for a while now. I was like, you do not want to face Tigres, especially if they're at the lower end of the qualification, which they're in 6. I had them.
Go ahead.
No, I had hoped that they would have been already secured in a higher seed, but they're not, and so I think they're gonna just come down to Chivas, man, and come in full throttle.
Right now, they haven't officially qualified for the league yet, but I mean, they would have to have a Jurassic collapse combined with someone else's monumental, 10-goal win, and Chivas and they have a 10-goal loss in order for them to miss out on the Liguillas. But this is to me going to be one of the true tests to see just where Cruz Azul is in the world of karma. Because it's looking like it's pretty good that they're probably going to end up as the number 1 seed. The last time they were the number 1 seed, they ended up losing to León. And that was the first year that they changed the rule of the the lower seed. It used to be that the lower seed had to win the tie outright, which I think for the quarterfinals is totally reasonable. That the lower seed has to, the away goals don't matter. The lower seed has to win the tie in order to advance. And then the upper seed, all they have to do is just draw on aggregate to advance. So away goals, but they did away with that rule. They said no, away goals is the first tiebreaker. And so what happens with Cruz Azul? They, in León, they tie 0-0, and in Cruz Azul they lose 1-0. So they're done. They're out. Afuera. Se acabó. So that was the last. So if they end up as the number 1 seed, is karma going to stick them with Tigres as the 8th seed, or are they going to get like Morelia? And I think if they get Morelia, then I think that the gods will have punished Cruz Azul enough, and I think that we're going to start to see Cruz Azul become Cruz Azul again, and probably take the title, as long as they can avoid a big fish in that first round.
Well, already they did two things that to show that they're on the right path. And just how serious they are. One was winning the Copa MX, which they would shun, but they won it just because they wanted to prove a point that they could win the doblete. And the second one is they're undefeated at home. They have not lost a home game, and that takes you a long way in the Liguilla, man. Once you're in there.
Yeah. And Cruz Azul's best years, their championship years, were years that they had at the Estadio Azteca.
Yeah, the
So
Máquina years.
yeah, it would only make sense then that when they come back to their venerable home, which we have to talk about as well here in a second.
Yeah, but that does a lot, That does a lot for the player psyche and for the whole
Of
team,
course,
knowing that at home you're pretty much,
invincible.
Yeah, invincible. So it does add that extra, just extra sauce for when you're playing some of these important matches.
Only
That
to
it's
bet
like,
foil that Cruz Azul, and we'll have to look this up. Maybe you can look it up. I'm driving. See if their average attendance is higher than Cruz Americas in their own stadium. I'm willing to bet that Cruz Azul is higher.
oh yeah, that was what I had been hearing since the start of the season. So yeah, I too would not be surprised. I'll try to look for it.
All right. Hang on, Ron. We're about to get you on. I've just exited. I'm in Troy, Texas. I think I see a well lit area where I can do the duties that I need to perform in order to bring on another cantinero without any worry of being attacked by one of these local heathens here in Central. I'm just kidding. I love all my Texans. Let's see. So Cruz Azul is, chances are pretty high that they are going to end up top of the table. And looks like America is probably going to end up number 2. And in all likelihood, it looks like Santos or Pumas will end up number 3. And then after that, 3 and 4, it gets kind of jumbled up because it's still very, very tight from 4 down to even 8. So teams that Pumas could finish 2nd or they could finish 7th. So it really does make a huge difference. And again, I think it's all about matchups. Not like I, for one, as a Pumas fan, the last teams I want Pumas to play, and only because they just don't do well against them, especially in the Liguilla, is Cruz Azul and Tigres. And anyone else, I would be totally fine with. But for Pumas, they just don't match up well with either of those teams.
So I'm looking at the I don't have the numbers yet, but it looks like Cruz Azul at the start of the season they were drawing better, but America has been outdrawing them recently.
Really? Oh, so now that America is winning, they're like, well, we can't have Cruz Azul do better than us.
They returned. This is a headline from October 2nd. América ya superó a Cruz Azul en promedio de asistencia en el Estadio Azteca.
So it was a matter of pride then for the Americanismo to, hey, this can't be happening in our stadium.
Another headline from El Universal, this one from October 6th. Disminuye asistencia al Azteca para ver al Cruz Azul.
So the novelty
who knows what happened? Well, it could be different things, So who knows?
Well, I mean, obviously for the Liguilla.
Also rivals,
And I got to tell you, we talked about this for the past couple of weeks. It really is too bad that Chivas is just terrible again this year. Not that Chivas fans should expect anything less, but to have Cruz Azul and America and Pumas and Tigres and Monterrey and and Santos and Toluca, the glamour teams of the league, and then Pachuca maybe you would throw in there, to have that be that you're 18 in the league. I mean, that Univision has got to be just kissing themselves. and for Christmas, to have any one of those matchups except if they have like a a Tigres Toluca final or Cruz Azul Monterrey, whatever it is. I mean, they've just got to be just thinking, wow, this is going to be great. I mean, I know that Santos is a small market team, but they're, they play really well. I think everyone enjoys watching Santos play. So, if it's like, a final of Morelia Pachuca, I mean, I know we have a lot of Purepecha listeners, but guys, let's face it, it's just Morelia. It's just Pachuca. But if you have a Tigres Cruz Azul final or a América Monterrey or Pumas Toluca, I mean, and just the possibilities and combinations are amazing. I mean, just in all the rounds, this is like the super duper heavyweight division Liguilla we're getting ready to have here in the Liga MX.
Yes.
The teams that traditionally have been the strongest teams, at least over the past 30, 40 years, except of course for Chivas, which again had another terrible season, as is the custom for Chivas lately.
Yeah,
Chivas is having such a bad season, Joel, that it's almost Atlas-like.
Oh no, not that bad. Come on, Yon. And actually, the season is better than expected. A lot of Chihermanos are expecting doom and gloom. They saw Pizagol leave. They saw, Matias, the Golden God, also leave, and so they thought the team was lost. But actually, there was improvement. One, they finally won at home.
Yes.
Which was getting embarrassing, going a whole season without winning at home. I don't know what other big team the fans would.
Things got so bad.
Be so forgiving,
for Chivas at home. They got so bad for Chivas at home that even Pumas won in Guadalajara.
Pumas, who had not in like 30 years
since Hugo was playing.
Oh man!
Think about that. Yeah, exactly. The last win that Pumas had, Hugo Sanchez was playing for Pumas.
He was a player. So that was the one positive, that they finally won at the Zombie Life, and the other positive is that despite having one or two games left in the season, it's one game, right? One game left in the season.
One game left in the season.
Yeah, they already did 5 points more than the previous 5 and 2 points more than the previous 2 seasons.
So in each of the last 2 seasons, Chivas didn't even crack the 20-point barrier.
Nope, they did 15 and 17.
That is a recipe for sufrimiento en el porcentaje.
Yes, it is. Which is we've been one of my beefs with Mati, and it's hard because Mati is beloved, and any criticism is just seen the wrong way, and it's I just can't. I don't understand it, man. And I don't think Mati could be in River Plate and go a whole season without winning at el Monumental de Núñez, and the fans wouldn't care because he won the League Cup. I just don't. That just wouldn't happen, man.
Fans see all the trophies, and it's like when you meet a girl at a party, and she's wild and crazy and fun, and you're thinking, man, this is like the greatest girl in history. And then the next day, I'm not saying that when she's, but it's like when she's out of that element, she's like just mean and dour and you're like, why am I putting up with this? And and then a party comes by again, and like, oh my God, this is oh, now I remember. But then the parties quit happening, and that seems to be the relationship that. Now we have for the well, anyway, I'll come up with something. The Mati lovers. Oh, you know what it'd be? That would be the Matiosos. There you go. That'd be the Matiosos.
The Matiosos.
The Matiosos.
Hey, I see Ron, but anyway. Did he mute himself?
Yes, I did.
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, there's Ron. Why?
We're talking America, but Ron
Yeah, no,
I guess
that's
when he
fine.
came, because I can't see it because I have
Oh,
my battery is running so low that I got the screen off. It's I'm just right now
oh
it's
man.
being used as a radio, so I can't see anything. But I
I
am
think Ron.
also concentrating on the road. But Ron De Luna joins us. It's been a while since we've had a Ron on the show. He's in the middle of
He was
getting his degree in architecture, so we do appreciate him taking the
he was
time.
he was away at bear camp.
We do appreciate him taking the time to come on here on the CantinaMX podcast. Ron, we spoke at the very beginning of the season, and you said semifinal. It's funny. You said semifinals at least, or
Already.
I'm disgusted. It has to be that. Whereas Joel in week 2 tells his Chivas hermanos go on loan to another team this season because Chivas no va a valer madre. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but so once again, I think what we see here, Ron, is just for teams that are the supposedly rivals, how the constant fortunes of one team are almost always inversely related with the abject failure of another, and it only stands to reason, at this point that America has been doing pretty well for about the past 5-6 years or so, and at the same time, Chivas has just have been terrible.
Yeah.
Once again.
I would agree with that assessment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
after the
honestly,
Michel Bauer years, I mean, and Pelaez comes in and does his works his miraculous interventions, gets the entire organization back to where it needs to be. And
I think it goes back to obviously America has had an ownership group for the past since the 59, and obviously managers change and the front office changes and stuff like that. But one of the things that I do have to give credit to for America, at least in the last 20 plus years, is that the ownership group they let their GM or the equivalent of their GM and their president carte blanche that they can do what they can.
Well, I mean they're busy too. I mean why do they have to let someone else do that?
Exactly, and that's the point that I'm trying to make with Chivas is that you haven't seen that with Vergara. He's just too involved, and I think that ultimately that's what's costing, because I mean in the 10 plus years that he's been there, I mean more than 30 something managers, more than 4, 5, 6.
Well, hey now, let's not pretend that when Club America hires a coach that they're there for 7 and 8 years at a time.
No,
they go through coaches just as quickly.
But not. I mean, America hasn't had 30 coaches in the last 10 years.
Dude, I've seen America have 5 coaches in one short season. So let's but Cabezon Luna has gotten called a few times.
Well, America did win the 89 tournament with
no coach.
with 3 coaches. But if you're going to do that, at least
where I do agree with you is that at least where you stand with the policy that the ownership group has with Club America. The policy is we're committed to success, so we're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah.
And very few teams in Mexico have that, and that's one of the reasons why Club America has been so successful.
Well, I mean, they're the most consistent team in the last 60 years. They've made the most playoff appearances. They've made the most semifinal appearances. They've had more final appearances.
And Ron, I can't believe I'll be defending America right now, but some of the recent coach changes, I think, was due to circumstances. For example, Piojo leaving for the national team, and then you had Turco, which he wasn't sacked. He just didn't extend his contract, and it was due, his indiscipline, just leaving midweek, going unannounced to Argentina, leaving stuff like that. And but we were seeing it now at his current club, he got sacked, and it
Yeah.
wasn't so much for results. Then I'm pretty much just the type of attitude he has.
Joel, the fact that you have to speak highly of
I know.
America, I have to do this for you.
I don't. Damn. Oh snap! Right. No, man. I just no, because we have to be honest with certain stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and differences between um they let a coach at least finish his process or go through the season as opposed to how like with Vergara he would sack you 5 games in, you know.
Yeah.
It is a real shame. I'm glad you came on, Ron, because something happened this week that I thought gave not just the Estadio Azteca and America and Televisa, but the whole sporting culture and sporting industry in Mexico had a huge freaking black eye this week when Estadio Azteca
Oh, it is a black eye with the Aztec Stadium debacle.
just and then for that stadium, and I was trying to explain this to my brother-in-law, and he actually understood and agreed, which I thought was kind of cool. I mean, I told him, there are 3 stadiums in the world that people hold, and I'm talking about worldwide, that people hold in extremely high regard and consider them. Is Wembley.
Yeah.
The other is the Maracanã, and the third is the freaking Estadio.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things have happened in that stadium in the sport of soccer that are
Yes.
top 5 moments in the history of the sport.
Maradona.
Maradona,
Yeah. And Pelé.
More World Cups played there. Yeah, I mean, just it's ridiculous. Lineker gets a hat trick. It's incredible for them to treat for them to make the decision and to hire the folks that they hired to lay the sod down. Knowing that you've had this impeccably manicured playing surface for however many years. It was just a really, and to do it when they did it too. In the like right before the rainy season, it was like, oh my god.
What's worse is that I've been seeing some of what they've been saying here on the U.S. press, and it's like, unfortunately, it just makes Mexico look so bad because no one's, at least from the from the world press, they're not saying, well, yeah, they tried to change get this hybrid type of surface in and stuff like that. They're just saying they're just making it look like it was just poor management and so it is, but
But it's at the point that they think that this is what happens all the time, and
exactly.
It's just not.
And that's not true because that stadium, I think in the point that I made, at that point you had 3 clubs playing there, week in, week out. You had the national team, you had international games on top of on top of the religious services, on top of the concerts, and the stadium was fine. It's just the people that they brought in just did not know the local microclimates. They didn't understand the soil. They didn't understand the science behind what it takes to maintain that type of stadium.
I agree 100%. It was whoever made that decision.
Yeah.
And I can't really blame the folks that actually because they did the best they could. But yeah, exactly. When you have as much at stake, and it's not just this NFL game. The NFL game is nice to have. And it turned out to, no one knew when this game was scheduled that it was going to end up being like the marquee game of the year. It just happened that way. But to me, it was just a poorly timed decision.
Also, take in consideration the millions of dollars spent to renovate Aztec Stadium, precisely for the NFL, because the NFL wanted bigger locker rooms. So, they, if I'm not mistaken, there was 4 sets of locker rooms in that stadium before. There, one for the visiting team, one for America, and then 2, I think, was just like I think one was for the refs, and the other one was just just a random one. So I mean, they spent a lot of money renovating the stands, the locker rooms for the NFL, and then for this to happen, it's just Jesus. I mean, I was reading reports that just this little debacle, is costing them $43 million. 43, yeah, 43. So I think that's a figure that I read.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. It's funny because that was a game that was played at Wembley a few weeks ago, and it was two schlub teams. So and the field was, I mean, it wasn't this bad, but it was still pretty bad, and they had no problem playing on that field. So I do think that it probably would have been fine, and it probably would have been fine if it was like, if it was a game between two really bad teams. But the fact that it was a Southern game, and let's not lose sight of the fact that this was a Los Angeles team that finally started getting people in the stands because they're playing well. I mean, the last Rams home game I saw looked pretty good. It looked pretty good on TV. That Coliseum looks good when it's filled up, and it was definitely filled up. So I'm sure that there was a lot of pressure there as well. And I mean, I get that. I mean, if you're an owner, you only get 8 of those a year, and they take one away, and you say you took this game away from me, you make me play on that field. No, sir. And but I think if it was like, maybe a smaller market team, I don't think it would have been. I don't think the decision would have been made, but it still does make Mexico, and particularly Televisa. Actually, Joel, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but don't you think that the ones that look the worst in this whole deal is Club America, Joel?
Yes, they're the home team.
Yeah, they're the ones that look the worst in this whole thing.
I think it makes Cruz Azul look bad because they go into Aztec Stadium and then this happens.
It makes that's
shit.
Well, yeah. So they were playing those, but but I mean, let's not pretend that soccer really tears the field apart. Also, football will tear that.
But it's still. I mean, some of the things that I've the memes that I've been
Well, do you
watching.
remember, Ron? Were you in Houston when the Cowboys played the Oilers at the Azteca, and during the rainy season at night, and the field turned into a gigantic puddle of mud?
Yeah,
I mean, they weren't playing on grass; it was straight up mud ball. I think the final score was like 6-0. I'm pretty sure that the NFL remembered that, and that's one of the reasons why this game was moved. So now my other big bitch about that is like, okay, so you want to move the state. I get that. There's a stadium not freaking 5 miles away from the Estadio Azteca that is a football. It is a football stadium, meaning it has the locker rooms that can handle a freaking NFL team. They're already wired up because they play football there as well, and they have all the comms and all the crap that you need to get an NFL team wired up and ready to go. They have all that. And it seats 70,000 people, and it would have been a great little compromise, but it didn't happen. And
it's funny, John, and given the political climate, it probably would have paid better to go play it at Puma Stadium, because what happened in the '68 Olympics stadium there? With was it Tommy John and Carlos, exactly. Yeah. So it's like it would have.
And it's the 50th anniversary of those Olympics.
Exactly, and the political climate of inequality, racial inequality, and stuff like that, and what's going on with the NFL. It's like, dude, it just would have made more sense to go play it over there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved for that. I mean, again, and Pumas was built for football. It's not built for soccer. It's built for football.
Yep.
That's football stadium, and it's just unfortunate that decision wasn't made. So again, Joel, I think you'll agree with me. I think we should just go ahead and blame Club America and move on.
Yeah, they're probably hating on Cruz Azul's success, on that undefeated home streak.
Speaking, what it's You know,
Were they
believe it or not,
well,
they took like part of the success of Cruz Azul is because of Americanistas like Peláez. You know, you even have Gringo Castro. You even have Gringo Castro that's working with their youth and stuff like that right now.
is Gringo Castro really says he's going to teach them all how to make beautiful runs down the flanks and then send a 3-cent cross in?
That guy had He had 7 lungs, and he was hell's good on defense. You know.
Oh, there's no question. But when he pushed up and he threw his cross in,
But here, that criticism with Gringo Castro, I don't really think it's that valid, because keep in mind when he was there, Cuauhtemoc was there, and we weren't a team built on centering to Cuauhtemoc, because we didn't have really a number, a true 9, you know. So
I thought Boas was the true 9.
Well, I mean, Clever was only there for a couple seasons. It's not like he was there, for a long time. I mean,
Well, it doesn't change the fact that he was a terrible crosser of the ball. You can't deny that. You can defend him all you want. That's a part of his game that is indefensible.
I think that's some of the press just trying to, kind of like they were just hard on Miguel.
It's your own empirical evidence that you're gathering by using your eyeballs to record what's happening in front of you. Like, man, this guy really sucks at crossing. I don't think you need more than that.
Yeah, he could have been Layun, man.
Exactly.
He could have been Layun before Layun. If only his crossing was more on point.
That's exactly right.
It's like his youth coach was like, once you get to the, once you get to the edge, just close your eyes and hit the ball. It's like your job's done. Just hit it.
Actually, he should play a tape of his crosses and go, "Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. Don't do that." Well, gentlemen, we have news.
Sirenas.
If I had Sirenas, I would definitely be playing them. So, but we do have news. I saw today on the Twitter that it's looking like Tata is indeed going to be the Mexico team coach.
That they have come to a verbal agreement.
Exactly.
With FMF, and he will be the highest paid coach ever for Mi Selección MX, $2.3 million a year. So, for 4-year contract with an extension for 4 more years. Huh.
This isn't for Quinto Partido. This is, I mean, I'm hoping that Tata Martino's not there just for, wants to go in there and win it for the World Cup, in 2026,
That's great. I found this other siren. Hang on a second. That's from Family Guy, apparently. As you were saying, Rob?
No, I'm just saying that it's. I hope he understands what he's getting himself into. Tata Martino.
Well, I mean, it can't be any worse than Argentina, right?
I don't know.
I mean, at least that press has earned the right to bitch. They've seen, they've had decent amounts of success. So I mean, at least they have standards for which you can set. Mexico has, they have ridiculous expectations, and then as the World Cup gets near, they have like the most fatalist views of what's gonna happen. It's hilarious It's like the 5 stages of a Mexico national team report.
5 stages of grief.
That's right.
You know what? For 2022, I mean, I really hope that Mexico makes it at least to the quarterfinals, man. Because come 2026, I don't want them to get to the because like the only times that Mexico's ever gone to the quarterfinals is when they've been at home. They played at home.
Right.
Yeah, and it's gonna be what the 48-team World Cup, so it's almost a given. It's at this point they just
Is that is that a done deal? The 48?
Yeah, dude.
I'm trying to
Shit, that's right.
It's like The Secret, I don't know if you guys heard of The Secret. Like you think about something and then the universe wills it to you, and you got all these tricolor fans wishing for a quinto partido. And
Dude,
it was for over 20 years. For over 20 years, the universe just ignored us, dude. And then finally, they just like, let's just give it to them for the 18 World Cup. You don't even have to try at that point. That's like getting the 50 points in the test just for writing your name. Yeah. Hello? Anyone there? Ronnie?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
So,
I think John got cut off.
Oh, what I was saying was they're not going to have a round of 32. They're going to go from 48 teams to 16. That means you have to win your group.
Yeah, but Mexico's going to play against like Burkina Faso and like Turks and Caicos or something like that. And so,
not necessarily.
I guarantee
how they did that. Dude, you remember how they seeded the last World Cup? Mexico they'll be a group seed for sure, but because they're hosts. But I mean, they could get stuck with like the 18th ranked team.
Yeah, but and they're at the Azteca, so I mean.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but it's not going to be as easy.
We're gonna file this show. Yon, we're gonna file this. We're gonna put it. We're gonna revisit it.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not. But all I'm saying is, it's not going to be like a 100% cakewalk. It's going to be like a 40% cake. That's all I'm saying.
40, and then.
And yes, let's just go over the 2 draws that Mexico had when they hosted the World Cups. 1970, they had Belgium, which wasn't Belgium, not the Belgium we know now. They had Russia, which was semifinalists in the '66 World Cup, and in a miracle got El Salvador in their group. So they tied Russia, beat Belgium, and then they beat El Salvador. So that's how they got through. In 1986, hey, wouldn't you know it? They had Belgium again, and then they had Paraguay and they had Iraq. So they have 2 relatively soft groups while they were hosting. So yeah, so the chances are pretty high that it's gonna be softy. But the fact that they use rankings now changes things. That means that you could get stuck with a pretty nasty team. And as we saw in the previous World Cup, Mexico doesn't match up well with certain nasty teams. So
they're gonna get China and like.
But
Honduras.
You're gonna get no. It's gonna be 1 to 16, 17 to 32, and 33 to 48.
We're getting one of those 40, one of those bottom of the barrel teams.
You're gonna get one from one group and one from the other.
This is my worry about those teams, is that they're gonna bunker.
Yeah, but we're gonna have them at altitude, man.
The Coloso de Santa Ursula is not the wall of 115,000 people it used to be. What they've reduced capacity to what, Ron? Like 85,000 now?
No, it's still in the 90s. It's still in the 90s. But yeah, it's not what
it's out.
It got gentrified. Ron,
yeah.
They got those butacas, those VIP. O sea, puro VIP. And then with, with the fancy restaurants inside and all that.
Yeah.
Where our friend of the show and occasional contributor, uh, Rigo Ayala, when he went to the Clásico Tapatio, was caught on camera enjoying a lovely ceviche. There, he was sitting in the VIP of the Estadio Jalisco. We asked him how much his ticket cost, and what did he tell us, Kawhi? Like $30.
Yeah, like $30, man. And he had like bottle service.
Yeah, but but he was wearing a jersey. I'm like, dude, why don't you dress up, man? You know, like a dress shirt and stuff like that. You're gonna be in the VIP section.
Put a sports coat on. Yeah,
I know.
Sports coat and huaraches, like brothers.
well, if you put the sports coat on the watch, then you can go ahead and wear the shirt.
Oh man.
Well, how do you feel about the shirts that Chivas is going to wear at the upcoming Club World Cup, where they threw a little blue?
They look like pajamas.
It looked like little boy pajamas.
Yeah, I don't like them.
So this is what I don't understand. So you're Las Chivas Rayadas de Guadalajara. You have a very recognizable standard uniform. So why mess that up? Why can't you just go with your blue shorts and your red and white stripes and be done with it? What?
Yeah, you know, when Pumas, their first jerseys they were so nice. And this one it's not that it's bad. Personally I just don't like it. But it sold out already. In Mexico, it sold out, and I just think that's just part of the fandom of Chillermanos, because even some of the ugly jerseys that Reebok did towards the end, almost like they did it on purpose. Like, oh, you're not gonna renew the contract. Let's give the design to one of the interns. Let's give it.
They won a championship. They won a championship wearing the fallopian tube.
Yeah.
Ron, you're a psychology major. What does that say about Chivas that they won a championship while playing the entire season with the design of their jersey in the shape of fallopian tubes?
You're not.
Damn.
I guess there's nothing that can be said when something like that happens. Something like that.
Who's the kit manufacturer, by the way?
Do you think that was Reebok?
Reebok.
So, Ron, do you think that Tata Martino would be a good choice or not a good choice for Mexico?
I kind of want to know the details. I mean, what I want to know, like,
how much control are they going to give him?
Well, yeah, how much control he's going to be given? His coaching staff. What are what he has to do, what he has to accomplish. If there's because I mean, if we're gonna go 4 years where he's like he doesn't have to produce anything because he's building up for 2016. It's like
wouldn't you rather have? I mean, would you rather this be a 4-year commitment or go ahead and make it an 8-year? I personally think I'm not saying that that's the guy for this. It'd have to be an 8-year commitment, shouldn't it?
I think so. Honestly, I don't think that. I just don't see Tata as really rolling up his sleeves. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying or anything like that. I just don't see the piss and fire in his eyes.
If Mexico wasn't hosting in 2026, you'd be totally fine with Tata because you think it'd be for 4 years. If he survives, it'd be great.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't. I mean, the guys, obviously in Argentina, Barcelona and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, to Osorio's credit, I mean, granted, I didn't think he had the credentials, but I will say that he did have the piss and fire in his eyes because he wanted to keep growing it and making a name for himself and took the job seriously. I don't ever doubt that he didn't.
So you think that this could be a situation like when Pelado Diaz came into America and just
exactly, you know, like a Coco Basile or a Pelado or yeah, it's like where it's just a payday.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see this guy really, you know, having all heart and soul into this job.
So you want a guy that rolls up his sleeves, is fully committed, ambitious, understands that, hey, if I can make it work here, then I can pretty much write. I mean, let's face it. If
I mean, go back.
Juan Carlos
I mean,
had taken Mexico to the quarterfinals or beyond, he'd be coaching in Europe.
I've seen a lot of footage of, like, for example, like you know, like the prep to the '86 World Cup, and Bora's just, you know, countless hours, you know, prepping and playing in the scrimmages and this and that and the other. I mean, this guy was all in. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, even, you know, La Volpe was all in. I'll give him that. I don't know if Martino's gonna.
So, do you think Tata Martino's gonna go out and set the cones like Osorio did?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, I guarantee you Almeida would. Piojo would. You know what I mean?
Well, Joel and I seem to think that Piojo is the bombero in waiting. When whoever it is that they hire, if they crash and burn, he'll be the one that saves the day. Because he ain't getting the job firsthand. So
I truly wish they would.
Well, the only way it happens, Ron, and I believe there is a small possibility, is if America wins the championship. That's the only way it's going to happen.
I mean, you know, I think that Pelais and Piojo need to get back together for the national team.
Like old time's sake. Don't you remember how it was?
You know, it's gonna be a transition, man. Different players and stuff like that. It's you know.
Like the chords of sorry.
So I mean, we're already in.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that this Sonata. I'm not 100% entirely sold that this Martino thing is even going to happen. Just my personal opinion. You know, if he does have the fire in his belly, obviously, you know, that would be great. I don't know whether he does or not. I do think that whoever the coach is, it should be an 8-year process. I guarantee you that whoever they hire for the U.S., that they're going to make a coaching hire with the roadmap that goes 8 years instead of one that goes 4. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen with the U.S. And I think the last thing Mexico fans want to see is in the 2026 World Cup that the U.S. ends up doing better than Mexico. You know, maybe make a semifinal appearance or a finals appearance. I don't think that would sit very well with Mexico fans, and especially if they talk about, you know, coalition European when they hired, you know, blah 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 in the, you know, early year 2019, you know, whatever it is. So I do think that whoever they hire, they need to hire for to make sure that they get the best Mexico they could possibly get in 8 years, and I'm not so sure, and this is where I do agree with Ron. I don't think that Tata Martino is that guy.
No, I don't. In fact, I'm almost positive I know that you know, he's not that guy for that 8-year program.
But, yeah, because I mean he has to move his whole family. I mean that's why I almost feel like for something like that you need to look local. And you know, I'm still thinking that if they do go local, it's going to probably end up being Diego Alonso, which especially if Monterrey wins. So just my personal that I've maintained, but we could all be wrong. Joel, is Tata going to take the gig, or is he going to squelch the last minute?
I don't know if rumors from Medio Cierto are to be believed, because that's where I saw the news. Seems like it might be a done deal. I mean, I think that for how they want to market the team, you know, and for sponsoring reasons and just for the fans and all that. Yeah, Tata fits that mold, you know, with all that experience and his cartelera. So that makes it very possible. You know, it's all about presentation for the for the most part with with the selección and you were saying that Diego Alonso, but he would have to win. He would have to win the
Exactly.
league title because that's been the norm. Every coach, every coach that has taken over the selección, uh, had won the league title, with the exception of La Volpe, which surprised me that he didn't stay because he had Toluca pretty much poised to lift the Liga and he left before was it right before Liguilla?
But he won it because he was on the phone. Remember?
Right.
He was on the phone with Graniolati or who was
Alberto Jorge or something.
Ese equipo yo lo dirigí por teléfono.
yeah. So that's that, man. But yeah, I do think it's pretty strong possibility if that's the case.
Is it a good decision, Joel, or is it a questionable decision? Does Joel, president of MX Food, make this hire?
No, I wouldn't have. If I would have given it to Piojo, man. Ron, and I think you also have the same take with Pelaez, but Pelaez might not return simply because he got on Yon de Luisa's. He pissed him off when they were at America when he Pelaez announced that he was leaving at the end of the season and Yon said, well, no need to wait, just leave now.
Yeah.
So he pissed off the wrong dude, man. So, but who knows, man? It might not last forever, that they'll kiss and make up soon, hopefully. But Pelaez does seem.
I don't think so. I mean, John Luis is a Televisa guy.
You think it'll be years, man?
So you'd rather have freaking. I'm thinking that John Luis have freaking Memo Cantu as the guy running the show instead of Ricardo Pelaez, who is in a very short period of time, in 5 years, has proven that he is clearly the best general manager of the Mexico scene. I mean, at least in a generation. I mean, you guys know the history of the sport a little better than I do, at least the recent history. Has there been a guy who has made as many good moves as in such a short period of time as Pelaez?
I'll say Nestor.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, you asked for it. Nestor is pretty good. He's highly rated. I'll say Pelaez is more successful, but Nestor has a good curriculum. Like if you had to put like the top 3, he's up there, man.
Okay, Nestor, Ron, is there anybody?
The guys that come to mind as far as is Lebrija and Pelaez. I think those guys were really good.
Who was the guy who put together all those Toluca teams back in the turn of the century?
It was Lebrija.
Yeah, and
back then they didn't really have that. They did, that term.
Right.
But the guy that was, he had, Lebrija's the one that ran the scouts. He's the one that's, signed the paychecks. He's the one that, had to go to the owners, to the Diaz family. So it was Lebrija.
Well, he did a bang-up job because that was one hell of a team.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, they knew how to scout. They knew how to build
and for
teams.
my Chilla hermanos to add more of the sad flute, he came to Guadalajara to help Vergara, and that didn't last long, man.
No.
Which I thought, this is good. The Chivas Supremo might learn a thing or two. And that did not last. That partnership did not last long.
I even wanted Lebrija to go to America, they had Michel Bauer. Like, Jesus Christ, what a joke.
So Ron, in all this time, because you've been on the show, you still haven't put the batteries in your fire detector, your smoke detector yet?
No, that's my ankle bracelet.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
I'm just kidding with you guys. No, I haven't put the battery into the fire department. It's hardwired. It's hardwired. I don't know why I need a battery.
So are you saying, Joel, that Chivas had a chance to lock up some of that Lebrija magic and it didn't happen?
They did. He came in and he left around the time that Chicharo left to Man U, and that was one of the reasons where Lebrija felt that Vergara left him out of the negotiation and didn't even let him know. He didn't even tell him about that because Lebrija said he would have at least, kept Chicharo for the Libertadores final, which
Right.
I agree with him.
That's all you want. That's all you wanted, Joel.
Yeah, I mean,
all you want.
That would have increased the team's chances of winning that cup, and this guy wasn't thinking of that. He was thinking of, I'm gonna bring Man U for the friendly of the stadium, to inaugurar el estadio, and that's gonna be the big draw,
That's just me. So, Joel, is it meaner for me to bring up the fact that Charito didn't play in the Libertadores final, or that Parchis were Spaniards and they sang the Americas?
The Chicharo is the more traumatic.
It was more painful. That was almost the beginning. That was like the beginning of the end for you, wasn't it?
For a while, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of
set you down here.
I retired from football. I retired for like 2 or 3 years. I didn't want anything to know about football.
Exactly. I remember in the World Cup, leading up to the World Cup in 2010 when they played New Zealand in the Rose Bowl, and we were chatting on the Big Soccer back then, and you and I were both in agreement that all that team was Chivas with Pumas refuerzos. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And they were playing great. Because there were like 5 Chivas and 4 Pumas on the team. And they played really well.
Yeah, it was. You know what, John? I was going through some of my old files, and I found, which could probably be the very first, pretty sure it is, gentleman's agreement contribution.
Oh, no.
It goes back to 2010. And you were doing like, you wrote an article for the Big Soccer front page, and it was like predictions for the group and overall how the team's gonna do.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I gotta send it to you, but even then, John, I had Mexico beating France. I put they're gonna beat France and and play and play Argentina in the second round. So I got those predictions right.
Hey, speaking of beating France and beating Germany, do you think it cheapens?
That was great about soccer. With all 32 teams were on. I just put together a little thing about each team, like a little very quick synopsis, and you put a highlight, like the greatest World Cup highlight, on there, and then I asked a big soccer supporter of that particular country, a series of questions. That was a fun little exercise. I still have those too. I need to look at those. So you got it all right for me.
Excuse me?
You got it all right.
Well, at least those 2 predictions, right?
Are you taking, Joel, the supplements that Walter Mercado peddles on his show?
No. Indio Amazónico.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to bounce off.
You head now, Ron?
Yeah, I got
Ron,
to wake up early.
It is pretty late, Ron.
Yeah.
We do appreciate you hopping on, dude.
All right, guys. Good talking to you guys.
Later, Ron.
Ron De Luna joined us from Philadelphia here on the CantinaMX podcast. We were I'm not gonna lie, Joel, we were taking turns making fun of America, and Ron, like the true professional that he is, was able to absorb the jesting, and you know, and it was even able to give some back. So we do appreciate Ron for coming on and always sharing his insight and his vast knowledge of the history, not necessarily of the on the field history, but the off the field history of Liga MX, which is you know, sometimes almost nearly as fascinating as what happens on the field. Joel, is there anything else we need to cover here on the CantinaMX, on the special edition CantinaMX podcast?
Well, just Selección. Selección is the players are in Argentina. They're going to play the two friendly games against Argentina. They're not playing in Buenos Aires, though. They're playing in Rosario and Mendoza, if I'm not mistaken. And but in Argentina right now, it's it kind of sucks because all the headlights, everything's focused on the Libertadores final, which is, you know, River Plate versus Boca Juniors. So yeah, even if they're not really talking about the, you know, their monumental friendly against Mexico.
Two monumental friendlies.
Yes, but so what we do know is that Mexico seleccionados, I mean the European-based players, they will only play the first game. So after the first game, they're heading back.
Which is what you would expect, because that's a long ass trip to go back to Europe.
Yeah, it could be pretty long, and it was a long trip. Their flight got delayed, and the team ended up getting in Argentina like 3 a.m. or something. But those should be two really good and telling friendlies, you know.
Sure. So, I mean, any play Argentina, you know. Yeah. Success. I know Mexico lost against Brazil in this previous World Cup, but as much success as Mexico's had against Brazil, they've had the exact opposite amount of success against Argentina in the same period of time. They just can't beat Argentina.
Yeah, and this Argentina side is not going to be stacked either. Messi's not there, and they had a couple injuries recently. So, you know, that's interesting to see also how this Mexican team matches up, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, because there's a couple people missing, and so there's still the whole thing with Chicharo, you know? Is he out of the loop now? He's
not out of the loop. Chicharo hadn't played for 2 months. Why would they call him up? He hasn't done anything for 2 months. There's no reason.
Yeah, but neither has Pulido.
Chicharo hasn't even been on the field. He hasn't even been on the practice field.
He scored a goal. Didn't he score a goal last week?
Yeah, but I mean that's after. I mean, there's no. I mean, if you were a professional like Chicharo who's trying to get back into the rotation, would you fly 20 hours to Argentina to play?
No.
35 minutes?
No, obviously not. But there is always the matter of the patrocinios, you know, and that's he's still one of like the most popular player and the selling point. So I'm pretty sure a lot of the sponsors have been pretty upset that Chicharo hasn't been featuring in this post-World Cup proceso. So, you know, because, I mean, outside of Chucky, you don't really have any other player that, who's I think he's missing the game, right? So outside of that guy, you don't really have another player that commands as much attention. So even if he's not playing, they at least want his face right there.
The Chucky pulled the muscle, and I think you and I pulled the muscle. We're there today. I mean, I am 100% sure that Chucky Lozano will miraculously be better and able and be fit enough to not only play but start in PSV Eindhoven's next game. Guaranteed.
he's gonna miraculous recovery. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, and I was excited to see Chucky. This would have been a big match. To see him
yeah,
how he does against this type of opponent.
I don't think Tecatito Corona even came. I think that he's not on the list either, is he?
Yeah, I don't. I know we went over the list. What was it last week, Yon? We're dropping the ball here.
I would have remembered of seeing Tecatito, and it just wasn't.
I know Pulido's there, and Saldivar for Chivas. So those are two guys right there. And Memo Ochoa, of course, who he's gonna have to have a really good game to help the selección. So yeah, we got the selección. The selección games are gonna be pretty soon. And then also we haven't talked about. At least we could finish with some Libertadores. So the first leg was played at La Bombonera, finished with a 2-2 draw. So I mean, 4 goals in the final is. Excuse me.
It played after a 24-hour delay because of
the rain. Yes.
That hit Buenos Aires. So yeah. So I mean, and there's no away goal rule. So this is just a straight up aggregate. If you're tied, it goes to extra time. If you're tied, it goes to penalties. There's no away rules. It is just who scores the most goals. So it goes to La Bombonera. It goes to La Monumental. Basically 0-0. You're tied.
Yes.
Which is exactly how you want it.
Yeah, so it's a huge match. It has, it's paralyzed the whole country, and I think for River, it's River. It's very, very important. I mean, aside from it's a Libertadores, but rivalry-wise, Boca has the more Libertadores championships. So
right.
You want to catch up and also have that win over them. And as we talked about before, River Plate went to second division not so long ago, which was they got promoted with Matis, and who was a player when they got relegated. So Matis, and so they gotten pretty up, but they had to put up with a lot of banter from the Boca fans that have just remind them every week that they were in second division, and yeah. But if you're a River fan and you beat them for a Libertadores, now you have the perfect, the perfect thing to counter with, which is like no one's gonna care that they went to second division if you beat your rivals for the Libertadores, and especially their first ever Libertadores final confrontation. So that's also on the line is for Gallardo, which is River Plate's coach, Muñeco Gallardo, because he already won one when they beat Tigres. They beat Tigres in the final when Gignac had just signed, and so this will be his second one, which will be very impressive, and he would probably be in line also to not only coach the Argentina national team, but just go to Europe. He'll be another of their Argentine coaches coming out of the pipeline, because it's pretty impressive how many coaches they have, doing really well all over the world.
I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, how many players? How many Argentine players are all over? I mean, of course they're going to have a good number of coaches. I mean, it's just it is. I mean, the fact that they haven't done better in World Cups is just stunning. I mean, they
did reach the final in 2014, so that with penalties.
But that was one final after 24 years. I mean, they've had outstanding team, outstanding collection of players, and it's just they can't ever seem to put it together, unfortunately. But no, I do think that this is the biggest game on the planet coming up, and I include the Champions League final. as far as club games. This is just absolutely massive. I'm sure our friend Kit McConico, I bet you we could give him a can of, when you go to the Home Depot and you pick your paint color, I bet you we could like squirt the little drops of color in the water and give it to him in his hands. And with the pressure that he's feeling and how nervous he is, I bet you he could shake the color right into that paint.
No, but you know, like no, you're right. But for the for the people listening, if you get a chance, even if you don't like, Argentine soccer or Libertadores, it's one of those historic games you don't want to miss. And just talking about the run up, and some of the history, it's Mexico soccer is like tied, right up there with them. Because, for example, Benedetto, he was playing in America, and he has Mexican citizenship, and he could very well get called up to the tricolor. He is an option down the line, and he's playing in the final. Excuse me?
Benedetto.
Yes, for Boca striker, and just talking like River Plate and Boca, some of those players are gonna end up in Liga MX. Some of those coaches are gonna end up just like Matias Almeida from River Plate ended up in and then even in the past we've had a lot. They all eventually come to Mexico. So man, you could be seeing them there for the first time.
Come and watch your future idols.
Yeah, coaches too, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Gallardo, if it doesn't pan out in Europe, he's gonna be in Mexico, or the el mellizo Esqueloto for when but right. Players as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even Pupi Zanetti is a coach now.
Oh, really?
And he was
is he in Italy or?
I think so. I can't remember where it was that he was coaching, and then somebody that just shocked me was Gattuso. He's not Argentine, but Gattuso is coaching AC Milan. I was like, wow, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kid McConico's not returning the calls until after.
That's right. He is a blackout.
And if they lose, he might just take a sabbatical. Huh? He might just disappear for a while.
I hope for his sake that they win. Win or lose, I will listen to his show, The Throw In, which is on every Sunday at 9 a.m. here in Austin on 104.9 But if they lose, the producer in me is like, man, that would be good radio if they lost. But it would also be good radio if they won. It would be better radio if they lost. Which is such a terrible thing to say, because that's one of the things that I just absolutely abhor about football content stuff. So that they can just trash them.
Yeah, and the games are going through Fox Sports Deportes. So if you have Fox Sports Deportes, you could watch it through there. I unfortunately did not have it. I saw one of those feeds on Facebook.
I think what's happening.
Hello?
Otra vez
you're cutting off, John.
Yes, went through a dead zone, but I think that I tried to watch it last week because I was at the office, and the Fox Sports. I will make sure.
Yeah, I will try to go. Hopefully, I need to check. I think it's a Saturday, so I need to find a venue to go and watch it.
2 p.m. Central. It'll be noon for you, boy. That's like right in the middle of your bedtime.
Yeah, but I'll make make this exception.
Yeah.
I'll make the exception just to
No,
go
it's
watch
going to be
this game again.
this is, I think that there are two matches that I think that you should see at least once before you die. I think you should go see a Boca River,
Yes.
and you should go see a Puebla Jaguares. I think
A Puebla Jaguar.
and a Boca River. And then I think your life as a soccer fanatic is complete.
I was in Argentina, and it feels like they got frozen in time, man. You go to some of these stadiums, and it's like they're still in the '80s over there, and they obviously still have the hooligan problem, which was very prevalent in Europe as well, especially in England. But then England got all gentrified, Premier League, and they just priced them out. Now you couldn't afford to go. Hooligans couldn't afford to get in the stadium anymore, and the stadium was no longer giving those type of support groups any perks. But in Argentina, it's very much a thing, man. And all these groups, it's like hooligan groups and barra bravas. They still get they get tickets from the front office,
Right.
Yeah, that's how I ended up seeing the match. I actually bought a ticket, and there's a guy from a Boca Barra Brava that sold it to me. And I thought he was ripping me off, Yon. That ticket looked like he buried it in his backyard.
Oh, yeah?
That's where he hid it. He hid it until game time, and then he dug it out.
So what game?
It just looked. I went to go see Boca Juniors versus Argentinos Juniors at the Maradona Stadium, and it was, I was pretty naive, so I thought, okay, I just, I saw that the game was going to be played. I said, okay, I'm just going to go to the box office, and I could afford the expensive seat, which would have been like what, $20, and
Right.
and so I'm walking to the stadium, and it was blocked off. You couldn't get to the stadium. They had all these police, and then police with horse, and all the riot squad, just making sure you walked a certain way, or that you couldn't, because these are the old school stadiums that are right in the neighborhood, like right in the middle of the neighborhood.
Right.
It's not like the modern ones that have big parking structures, or this whole, this plot of land just dedicated for the host. This is just like some of the baseball stadiums in the old baseball stadiums in the U.S., where it's like you have houses and then the stadium's just right there around the corner.
Right.
Yeah. So this is how the stadium was, and I saw that they weren't letting people pass. Like they had the horse barricade, and it's like you can't pass through here unless you have a ticket. And I'm thinking, well, how trying to get to the box office, man. But it's funny because one of the police guards, he just pointed me to one of the scalpers. He's like, just get a ticket from that guy. So I bought it. I bought the ticket and got cattle herded into the stadium, which is pretty intimidating, man, because it's not seats. It was like that section was just like it was just concrete, and it was like the high school bleacher type, just the long bench,
Right.
And it's steep. It's like the way that stadium is, it's like in an angle. So once you walk in through the tunnel and everyone's standing up and jumping, it literally looks like they're gonna fall on you. And people do fall on you from the jumping. Like a couple times, like I had people bumping into me, but it at first you walk out of the tunnel and it's already the fence so that you can get into the field, and the field is right up there. It's like not even, it's like a foot. It's about maybe 2 feet, maybe, from the field from the fence. And so you kind of do get that feeling you're gonna get crushed. You know, like you're right up against the fence, and it's all the fence just right there, and then you just make your way up to wherever you can, and and you can't sit down because everyone in that section is standing up. And if you sit down, you're not gonna watch the game. So that was pretty interesting experience there, Yon.
It sounds like it, and it sounds like you had it was an eye opener. Yeah, but I'm sure something that you don't regret for 1 minute. So I'm glad that you were able to go and experience that. Boy, I think this is a good spot for us to wrap up the show here on the CantinaMX podcast. I am surprised that my computer has lasted as long as it has. I'm sure that the minute I open it, it's going to go, "What are you doing to me?"
You were at 4%, Yon, and the phone, tu aguante, like they say in
that's right.
down south. Tu aguante,
Exactly.
la batería.
But Julio, that was a great chat. Hopefully, we'll do this again tomorrow night here in the CantinaMX podcast. But I do appreciate you coming on. I made the suggestion.
I can't hear you. It cut off a bit.
I was saying thank you very much for joining us. It was good.
Yes. Anytime, and a quick shout out to Chickies. I met up with him yesterday. He was down here in LA, and we met up for dinner. And so he couldn't make it. He's traveling back today on his way back to Texas. So if he's listening, says shout out to Chiquis Campa.
Anyway, I'm back.
oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, I just my computer finally died. So.
You're on your phone now?
Good time for us to wrap it up. Yeah, I can't.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to get gas and stuff. So, but yeah, the la vida cotidiana. Thanks for hopping on, Joel. I do appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yes, always a pleasure, John.
All right, man. Thanks to everyone else who listened to the CantinaMX podcast. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys later on. Thank you.
Hello?